It's 8 o'clock on a Thursday night on the Horn. That must mean this is Insinserious. I'm your host, Patrick Davis. With me, as always, the great Anthony White. Coming up on the show, we will get into the NBA craziness of free agency and Summer League is happening. Damian Lillard demanding a trade. We will get into, look, we will mention Victor Wembanyama and Britney Spears. We'll mention it. We'll move on. We'll talk a little NFL fantasy football, little MLB, some Blackboard Sports Spotlight of the Week, top shelf, bottom shelf, and, of course, some Insinserious news. If you'd like to join the conversation, you can do so on the Specs text line. 512-337-3776 is the place to do that. 512-337-3776. Let's start off the show we do every week by asking you, Anthony, what is the best thing you saw this week?
I got to give credit. The Astros-Rangers series was quite entertaining. So
it was.
I'm on board.
That last game, not so much.
That
was. It was entertaining. I think if you were not a fan of either team,
right.
But if you were a fan, you're like, oh God, oh no, yeah. But he was very much fun to watch. That. I hope everybody had a good 4th of July celebration. You're going back in. It doesn't feel like a Thursday at all. Your whole week is thrown off. But I feel like we're going to get into a very big rut going forward in the summer. It'll kind of start to flow after this. So we did that. I tell you the best thing I saw. San Antonio Spurs dominating the Los Angeles Lakers with their star player not even on the team. Victor Wembanyama did not play in the Sacramento Summer League, the California Summer League. But that Spurs team, like Champagny is playing really well. They got a lot of guys who were kind of on the Spurs last year doing well. So that's a powerful Summer League team. Excited to see them play tomorrow night, 8 p.m. on ESPN. Is going to be the debut of Wembanyama, sold out, playing against Brandon Miller, and this is the number 2 pick in the draft for the Charlotte Hornets. Serge Jabari Rice for Texas fans will be making. He has signed his deal. Apparently, the report was that he had an illness, is why he did not make the California trip. But he is now officially signed. He is officially a San Antonio Spur on a 2-way contract, and will be taking part of Vegas Summer League. So that is fun. That's another thing to go watch him play. And if also for Tex fans, I believe Timmy Allen will be playing tonight in the Salt Lake City Summer League for Memphis at 8 o'clock. So just starting right now, that'll be happening as well. And we know Greg Brown does not get as much love. I don't think he's shown as much love to Texas, so he does not get the same love, but he was playing today for Philadelphia. If you're wondering where he has ended up, he is in Philadelphia. But let's get over to some NBA news. We will start off with the story that seems like it should be ending soon, because it seems like they're demanding something that there's only one solution to, unless Portland can find another solution, and I'm praying they do. Damian Lillard has said he is asking for a trade out of Portland after 11 seasons. He is saying that his agent has now basically told every other team that is inquiring, that is willing to put together a better trade package than Miami can. Don't even bother. Don't bother. Don't call us. We don't call the Portland Trailblazers. That Damian Lillard really only wants to go to Miami, so you're going to deal with an unhappy player. Not, hey, try and sell us on the team and we'll fake it. This is a full heel turn for Damian Lillard, and I don't know why people aren't buying. Like, people are still like, he was just so wronged by this Portland fan base that he should be allowed to break the league, break every single rule there is, tamper with Pat Riley. He should be able to screw over an entire fan base and try and leave a team in ruins after signing the deal that he gets a supermax.
Where's your sources? But also, why does it feel like it's about to be done? Why does Portland have to do anything?
But this is the thing. And so Portland doesn't, and you hope they don't.
Yeah.
But the flip of this is, if he's saying, well, I'm going to be unhappy and I'm going to make your life. Now, he's not going to be as good as James Harden. Like, James Harden was really good at making himself not likable.
Yeah.
And, I'm working out my trainers, and they're like, really? Because every night we're getting another report of you at a strip club in Vegas. Oh, no, but I work out my guys. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. And we've, this has been going, and it drives me nuts, because basically the NBA and the Players Association agreed on a deal of how are you going to be able to improve? How are you going to be able to help small market teams keep big name free agents.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give the team an edge to keep your guy, right? And so what was agreed upon was, well, we'll give you the Supermax. And if you re-sign your own player, you will be able to, you know what, you're given a better offer than anybody else can. And that is seemingly now backfired. And it is now backfired in a way that small market teams will never be able to keep a superstar more than 10 years. Unless they're winning a bunch of championships and they figure everything out, then you're not going to be able to keep them. Like, it's not a possibility anymore, because we have now seen 2 players that played 11 years with the team they were drafted on that 2 years ago lied to their team's face and said they're there for 5 years and let's do this. Let's sign that Supermax deal. Both knowing, hey, I'm probably not going to play out the rest of this contract there, but I'm going to see if I can get them to trade me first so I don't have to be the bad guy in this. But I want my $70 million. I want my massive money, my just ruin a team money. But I also want that, and then I want to pick where I go, which Bradley Beal has already done this offseason. He basically had a no-trade clause and said the only team I know, and the difference between the two is that Washington wanted to trade Bradley Beal. They wanted to move off of that contract. They knew they weren't going to get close to competing, and the more years that contract goes on, the harder it is to move, the harder it is to build a team around him. They knew they had to basically blow everything up in Washington and start over, so they were up for it. And then he only screwed him a little bit by saying the only team I'll go to is Phoenix, where it happens to be that my agent is related to the general manager. It just happened to be that I said that and helped out a team that already had a bunch of things going for it.
I'm just surprised this is coming from you, because on the flip side, if this player signs this Supermax and then 2 years down into it, he just kind of starts to fall off or whatever, the team can just throw him away whenever they want
to.
to.
They can't, though, because he's making $60 million.
But they still can find a way.
Yes, they can. I get it, and it's all business. I don't mind if Damian Lillard said trade me, and it's done. I don't mind that one bit. I get that's part of it. You can't say trade me to the defending Eastern Conference champions and don't ask for anything back. You get 2 picks, probably 2 pick swaps, and Tyler Hero, and you like it.
Yeah, but they can't do that.
That's it. That's what Miami can do.
I know, but Anthony Davis did this.
Anthony Davis, and he did. I agree. He didn't sign the mega deal, though, I don't believe. That's the thing, is it's signing that deal so you get a unbelievable contract that is only designed to keep players in small markets. And then to screw over the small market, and then double screw them. And also, New Orleans got Brandon Ingram, who turns out to be a really good player.
Right, but so that's my question.
Tyler Hero ain't going to be in the MVP conversation.
So Portland, he signs this Supermax, right?
Yes.
And he's this would be year 3 going into it?
Year 2, I believe. No, because he's got 4 years left on his contract.
Well, all I'm asking is, since him signing that Supermax, what has Portland done to better their team?
No, I'm not saying this is the problem. And first of all, Portland's doing what they can. The fact that Dame Lillard has every year told everybody to pay his best friends and then go and also get a star player and hasn't recruited anybody. LeBron recruited people to Cleveland. He got people to go to Cleveland, right? Has Dame got anyone to go to Portland? Has Dame recruited anybody? No. He's asked to be traded to go where he play with his friends, but he didn't get Bam Adebayo there, did he? No. So I get this theory, but he's not a big, you have to want to do this. This is how the NBA is set up. Not everybody gets to win all the time. It's not set up to be where you just get to win. And honestly, you can be a Russell Westbrook and try and be loyal to your teams for as long as you can until they go, dude, we need to rebuild. You got to go. You could be a Chris Paul and try and stick it out, and then it goes downhill, and then it goes downhill again, and then it goes downhill again, and then it goes downhill again.
That's what Dame did.
But he didn't.
He stuck with them for how many years?
Because he's demanding a trade to one team. I don't mind the demanding a trade. I don't mind that as much, because if you say, hey, man, you can go to Utah, and Utah can offer a really good package, and we can get some value back, and then we're not stuck, and look, we're going to rebuild, and we would have taken this trade if you didn't even want to. We might have taken this trade offer.
But that's when he says, I'm not going to play, because it's Utah. There's no actual championship caliber.
Why is there not? Why would John Collins, Lauri Markkanen, with Jordan Clarkson, that's good. There's good players on that team.
There's good players, but there's not.
You need a star. Who's Dame Lillard? The star. You want to tell me Jimmy Butler, Damian Lillard, and Bam Adebayo? That's it. That's the team. Because they lost everybody else, right? So that's the team. That's so much better of a team for the next 4 years than Utah, with cap space, with picks, where they can make more moves because they have so many picks where they can build around this and have a 4-year window where they can actually compete and go trade for another star, because now another star goes, oh, wait, I can go play with Dame Lillard and Lauri Markkanen, who was an all-star last year, and
He's
and
an
Jordan
all-star,
Clarkson.
but
It was because the game was in Utah. I'm aware. I'm just saying he was an all-star last
but
year.
you look at the last championships, like you have to have that 1-2. And in Utah, who's number 2? Who's a legit number 2? Nobody. So that's not a contending team. You got to go somewhere where there's at least a 1-2. I know with Miami they're going to lose a lot of players, but I just don't believe it's just that only one team. I believe that he could go other places.
No, look, and if he does, and if they make the trade and he plays, then we can say, okay, Dame, your agent was the problem, and your agent was lying, and you're not that guy. But to pansy out of it and to say, no, I'm going to let my agent be the bad guy. I'm going to call Paul George out for going to different teams. And then I'm going to say the only team I'll play for is the Eastern Conference champions. That's the only team I'll play for. That is a complete lame move. You are screwing over the city of Portland and their fan base, because the fan base that has been loyal to you, you have just said, you know what? You don't get back fair market value. You don't get that. So and the reason why it makes me so mad is because I am a small market team fan. Mm-hmm. And this is the future. This is the future. You either somehow get lucky and compete and we win a title. We win a title. And my shortcomings don't come into this. You didn't put enough around me. The fact that I was not the star player to get this done that doesn't count.
There's no team built around him.
He had players. You just made him pay Jeremy Grant all of this money because he wants to have his buddy on his team, and then he leaves. I get what you're saying, but you can't say they've done everything he has asked for the last 7 years. Every single thing he's asked they've done, except for bringing another star player, because they can't. And then at the end of it, that's somehow his fault that they can't bring in a star player. No one can bring in a star player. Star players bring in star players. You know who? We know why he wants to go to Miami? Because he wants to play with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. He wants to go play with another star player. That's why he wants to go there, not because I'm sure the fact that he's going to go party in Miami is nicer than being in Portland. But I get it. There's just a huge problem in the league, and this is two stars from the same draft that have now signed Supermax and walked out. And you're going to tell me that the Dallas Mavericks, that you're okay with Luka Doncic doing this in like 4 or 5 years? You're okay with it?
I'm okay with it if they don't build
so
a
they
team
don't win a title.
around
No,
not win a title.
What are they doing right now? So this year,
what are they doing right now?
That's what I'm saying. They're trying. They've traded away pieces. They've
made massive
you're
mistakes.
Throwing away, like, you're pretending that 29 teams don't mess it up every year.
Sure, but they're not. They don't have superstars like that they're trying to build and trying to keep.
Every team has.
No, but you're talking about small markets. Your whole issue is small markets. So you've got to go above and beyond to keep these all stars. Because why would they stay if you don't have this?
No, you're taking this as a Lakers fan. Everyone should go to the Lakers. Everyone should go to the Lakers. Hey, you small market teams. Look, you draft them, you develop them, and then they'll come here, and we'll just go over the cap and pay them, and we'll win a couple championships. I get it. I get what you're saying, but this is the reason the league needs to be set up in a certain way is so it is competitive, it can grow. And if you want to say, all right, well, look at the Pacers. I can understand if you're a Pacers player, you may be upset because they continually trade off people.
Right. 2 seconds.
The only thing that Portland did was get rid of C.J. McCollum, and then that was because they were like, we need more pieces.
Right.
We basically need to get more guys on this team. We can't bring anybody in free agency because no one big wants to come here, and Dame doesn't seem to be bringing anybody. Which, I get, it's not his job, but it is his job if he wants to win. LeBron James has built several championship teams. And as much as anybody can get mad at LeBron James for this, he doesn't demand trades. He signs in free agency. If he wants to sign a 2-year deal and then go to Miami, God bless him. That's a free market. But the life does not work out of, hey, I want a job where I get to work from home and I want you to pay me this much. And I need this, and you have to do it. That's not how life works, and that's what he wants right now.
Didn't Kevin Durant do that?
Kevin Durant's done it like 3 times.
Yeah, and so if the formula works, why not keep going at the formula?
Kevin Durant signed it, so he didn't demand a trade. Basically, he left in free agency twice. And then the Brooklyn thing, was Brooklyn, that was just a cluster mess.
Yes.
But that one, I do think it was wrong for him to demand a trade out of it, and Kyrie to demand a trade, and everybody basically say, well, we messed up and invited James Harden to our party, and it didn't work out. Yeah. But that's part of it. This is just another step of, well, I'm only going to one team. Like, that's the problem. if you want to demand a trade, I'll go, okay, I get it's a star-run league. But the fact we're now getting into guys like Pat Riley and ownerships and general managers can now go to players and say, you want to come here? Tell your team you demand a trade. Tell them that you're only coming to us. We will screw them over. We'll screw over your fan base. Our fan base will get a win. But we do not care about the competitive balance of the league. We do not care about the CBA. We do not care about anything. We care about ourselves, and we don't care whatever else happens.
So it sounds like there should be more stricter punishment.
Adam Silver should do something about this.
Well, against
Portland
the
should do something about
GMs
it.
and the owners.
Yes, but you can't prove tampering. You can't prove tampering. As Rob Bader said, it's the most broken rule in sports. Tampering is like speeding. Everybody does it.
Yeah.
So you can't really enforce it.
So, would you feel good if he went to, say, Minnesota and they give up Cat, and so he has him and Anthony Edwards, and they build around him? Is that?
But he's not going to Minnesota. That's
I'm just
the
saying.
I think there's other places he can go.
Yeah.
And Minnesota doesn't have anything anymore to really offer other than Cat. And I don't know if you want to get into the Cat game. But that's also, we can get into, we'll move on from this because I've ranted enough. But we'll get into the Mavs now because this transfers over to the Mavs. They kept Matisse Thybulle, which tells me that Portland, with Scoot Henderson, basically doesn't want to reset completely and be a bottom 3 team next year. They got lucky, got Scoot Henderson at 3. They feel this is the guy now going forward. We don't want to screw our fan base over more by now tanking for a season or two after we already got Scoot Henderson and Dame leaves. So we're not going to try and do that. We paying Jeremy Grant. So now they're in a place of, well, we'd really like to get a young star back for him. So it's not just picks. You'd like to get another star player back, at least one and maybe another 2. That's why they don't want Tyler Hero, because they're like, we don't want a guy that y'all got to the Eastern Conference Finals without. Like, that doesn't help your case that he's a real star player. So I think with Portland right now, them keeping Thybulle is trying to keep a culture that they want to keep, and let's play defense, let's do this thing. It fits in with Chauncey Billups of what he wants to be. It's a Chauncey Billups kind of guy, and Matisse Thybulle. The money's not terrible. I really like the move for the Mavs.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate. But it tells you that this means a lot, that this trade for Dame Lillard, that if you can go out and give him a player or two, but Dame doesn't want to go to a team that has to give up a player or two because he wants those players on his team.
Right.
And so it's why you can't to say one team and you have to take Tyler Hero, who nobody wants. Because he's not even worth a first-round pick. Because if you want to give out Tyler Hero, they go, well, we'll just send him to another team and we'll get a first-round pick from them, and we'll go ahead and throw him in, and we'll throw the first-round pick to you. But they're not even able to really pull that off.
Yeah, and that's why I think one of two things: either it's going to have to be a 3-team trade, and/or they just sit on it because they don't have to do anything.
You got to sit on it. You got to sit on
anything.
it. I think is what you have to do.
Yeah.
And I think Damian Lillard likes playing basketball too much to sit out.
Yeah.
But the Mavs say that they don't get Matisse Thybulle. They do get Grant Williams. I like the move for the Mavs. Getting Grant Williams in. He's a tougher player. That's what they want to try and bring in. You kept Jason Kidd, so you really got to kind of go with it. It's one of the reasons why I don't think they got Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba ends up in Philadelphia. I think that he was a guy that, personally, I think you should develop talent. And he could use him and he could play defense. They had that with Christian Wood last year. They never got him to be there. So that's why they didn't. I still think you should have, but I do like the Grant Williams trade. I also like it for the Spurs. You get Reggie Bullock. Well, I'm just saying, but if we're saying the teams, Reggie Bullock, you get him in. He's an expiring contract, so he is someone that can play for you for a year, but goes into that having a lot of flexibility next offseason when you kind of figure out more of where you're at. So we know with Wembanyama, we don't know how Jeremy Sohan works for him. And if Sohan's supposed to be a sixth man, can he play on the floor with Wemby? Because if you want Wembanyama to be on the court 35 minutes a game, your sixth man's got to play 25 minutes a game. They're going to be on the court the same. Can they play together? I think they can at points. The question is going to be who can guard a guy when you're playing Denver? Who can guard that center?
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to have to see with that. With Keldon Johnson, can you do that? Can you take Keldon off for a little bit and have Wembanyama slide down to a 3? We just don't know how he's going to be able to guard different positions in the NBA until we see it, right? So it gives them that flexibility. It also gives them that pick swap with the Mavs in 2030. And if we want to just yell and rant about how players are just going to leave small markets and leave market teams 2 years after a Supermax deal, well, his Supermax deal comes in offseason of 2027 for Luka Doncic.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're doing the odds and we're saying this is the way things are going, then he will be demanding a trade out of Dallas in roughly 2029 and roughly 2028, 2029, leaving that Dallas pick in 2030 looking pretty good. I don't want that, Dallas fans. I don't want that for you. I think Luka Doncic should stay in Dallas. I don't think that you guys have tried to do it, even though you may be inept in some points. You're trying. I don't want that to happen. But if we're going to say that's the new standard, then...
But if we're going to just say, well, you tried. You made efforts. You made terrible trades, but at least you're trying. There's no reason for him to stay for that.
No, and I'm not, again, I'm not saying he has to stay. I'm saying one team that has the worst offer is who you have to go to.
I get it.
That's where my problem really lies.
That's fair.
Because that is where you become the villain who said, I don't want Paul George, you guys that are just going from team to team, you guys have no loyalty. You're cheating the system. And then you go, hey, guys, my turn to cheat the system. But I'm not going to go to the press and talk about this. I'm not going to come out and stand up for my own name. I'm going to go hide and not come out and say anything while I'm clearly trying to cheat the system. Come on, man. Come out and defend yourself at least. Give me something to talk about other than the fact that you're trying to cheat to win. To give me something else.
You're so mad about it.
It's terrible. People people feeling like victims. Like, no, I'm going to make $70 million in a year, but I'm the victim. Don't sign the contract. Go somewhere else in free agency.
Yeah, Kevin Durant.
What else? What grade do you give the Mavs offseason so far? I'm just off the pack.
So honestly, I mean, the Grant Williams trade was great. Was probably their best move in a long time. And I know they had to re-sign Robert Powell, but good grief. Dwight Powell, sorry. I would have loved to see them try to go after another big man because that's really what they need.
I think they would. Yeah, it would have been really good to get another big guy in there.
So for the Mavs, on a grading scale,
they do draft Derek Lively as well. They make that trade where they move back, get rid of Berton's contract.
Yes,
still get the guy they wanted in Lively. I don't know if he's gonna be ready next year, but I like the pickup.
I give it a B for the Mavs.
B, and they keep Kyrie, which is you just had to do.
Yeah.
And I know that's not perfect, but you had to do that, or else you basically blew 2 off seasons in a row where you let Brunson walk for nothing. Yeah. And then you trade away a lot of good pieces to get Kyrie and then let him walk.
Yeah.
You just can't do that if you're the Mavs because then you have to hit a hard reset button pretty much. And then Luka's contract's again coming up in 2027, and he may demand a trade before that.
I was going to say, yeah.
So you have to watch yourself and what you're doing there. The Rockets, another interesting team, makes a lot of moves.
My favorite.
Bring in Van Vliet. I think they made some other smaller moves as well, but they've got their young guys now. And they bring in Dylan Brooks. And the Van Vliet contract is a lot. It's a max contract, which seems like a lot. It's a 2-year deal with a team option for the 3rd year. So, I like that a lot. Yep. If it works out, you get 3 years out of him. If it doesn't, you get out in 2. You can kind of go a different direction, give yourself a little bit more room. That's when you're going to have to be re-signing Jalen Green and Jabari Smith in that area, so you can kind of make decisions. The Dylan Brooks trade is 4 years, $20 million a year. I don't get it. I get Ime Udoka wants toughness. I get it.
Sure.
I don't get how that's the guy to do it.
That's not the guy.
I don't get how that's the guy to do it. I don't get. Now, I think all of us can agree that we would probably pee ourselves laughing if Jalen Green tries to do what he did in those videos to Dylan Brooks. I think everyone can agree that would be the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. So maybe, guys, maybe this all works out for all of us.
Oh, God.
But I think that one I don't get as much. I don't get who you're bidding against.
Yeah.
I don't know who you're bidding against that was offering him an $80 million contract. I don't know if Dwight Howard in Shanghai was working on a $90 million deal out there, and he had to up it. But I feel like you could have got him on a 2-year deal as well. Even at $20 million, you could have just been. I think you could have got him on 2 and 15, and had him and paid him $30 million, and he would have signed the deal because he could have gone and proved himself because that's what he needs to do. But you're stuck with him if it doesn't work out, and if it works out, I don't know what the best case scenario is because he's really at best a point guard.
But here's the thing: he is a great defender.
He is, but can he play with Fred VanVleet?
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's the problem is you're like, now you got him and VanVleet, and now offensively he's a liability, and I know he wants to be more of a creator, but he's a liability because that's what he was for Memphis. And so now you have a liability who's just a defender. You can't have that.
Well, you have to have faith.
He's going to be working on his 3-point shot. They're going to try and make him a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy doing that last year. That's what they're going to try and make him. I think
that's his bulldog. I think Ime feels like he can control him. He can keep him in
make
check.
a trade for Grant Williams. Go get Tyler. Like, do what the Mavs did or something, but don't do.
I get it.
I don't like this. I don't like it. I get it. I don't get why you paid him as much. That is what I don't get. 4 years, $20 million.
So is this, a D?
I'm gonna
with
give
the draft too, though. I mean,
I'm gonna give him a C.
Okay.
I'm gonna give him a C in the fact that I like the Van Vliet was only 2 years. I think that's a good signing, but I don't think they did enough to really. I don't know how you're gonna make it work in those 2 years with Van Vliet.
I will
and
say,
then
I will
you
say
might get
this,
stuck.
though. I'm glad that they didn't do the Harden trade. They didn't go after that. So that gets it up to a C plus.
Yeah, and all reports are that was Ime kind of shut that down. That he didn't want to do that. So yeah, I agree with you completely on that. Some other teams we'll get to before we go to the break. Your Lakers.
A plus.
A plus.
A plus. I mean, listen, look.
I think it went as well as you could go. I'm not going to give him an A plus.
Better than it could have because there's no. I still am.
I don't know how the money works.
I don't know how money works either, and I'm still dumbfounded that we got Austin Reeves for that contract. Why nobody tried to just screw us over.
I get why, and it's one of the reasons why restricted contracts are hard to do is because Portland didn't necessarily have to match Tybalt as quickly as they did. They could keep the Mavs in limbo for longer, and especially if you have that contract in the negotiation period, you can basically, I believe, on that Friday when negotiating can start, you could say, we have offered a restricted contract, and in your books, you have to say that you're going to pay this amount of money. And then 3 days after free agency actually starts, then the Lakers have to say if they'll match it or not. So they can just completely draw you out, and I think some of the teams that were looking at him didn't necessarily want to completely handcuff themselves into that. They also didn't want to make a poison pill contract with Austin Reeves after one good season. And I get it. I think Austin Reeves is good too, but a poison pill where you're like, oh, in 3 years, 4 years, we're going to pay you $30 million is a lot to take a risk on a guy that you also feel his ceiling is not, oh, this guy's an all-star. His ceiling is this guy's a really good player on your team.
I don't know. Well, either way, we win. That's all I know.
No, I thought it was a great offseason. They did a lot of good pieces. They were able to keep D'Angelo Russell on that team as well.
How? I don't know.
I think that team Pelinka. That dude seemed like this dude seemed like he had no clue what he was doing for like 2.5 years. And then all of a sudden is one of the best GMs in the league. And I don't know who told him a secret or something, but it's like he must have had a conversation with someone that just like unclicked how it worked, where maybe it was like, hey, by the way, everyone else is cheating too. He's like, oh, everyone's tampering? I can tamper? Oh, I've been doing so much better. I wasn't calling anybody until free agency started. And they're like, we've already agreed on deals, dude. So I don't know what it was, but something got unlocked or his reputation in the league. I don't know what it was, but the last year and a half has been very different from the previous 2.5 years. I do wonder if they're going to
LeBron. That's why.
No, but LeBron was there in the original because they won a title in 2020.
Yeah.
So I mean, like he's been there for longer, and just it continually was not making the right moves.
Yep.
It seems like he's doing it now. I think also maybe that the family, the Busses have opened up the checkbook a little bit more. That they're maybe he has a little bit more room to go. I think that might be helping out us too. But yeah, I'll give Pelinka his due. And for the Spurs, I'll give him an incomplete grade. This is a off season where you're not doing anything.
Right.
So you haven't done anything bad. You haven't done anything great. You got Victor Wembanyama, so A+. But this is an incomplete year. You as much as everybody wanted this to be the year the Spurs pushed the chips all in, it just wasn't going to be.
Yeah, makes sense.
This is one of the reasons when you're a small market team, you can't continue every offseason to be grasping at the mountain. You have to get a good running start. And they know that because they've done it for years. So they know, hey, man, if we attack this the wrong way, it sets us back like 3 or 4 years. And then Wembanyama's a free agent.
Right.
And then we're in that whole world again. So we need to be competitive in the next 2 to 3 years. But to be really competitive at a high level, we need to be able to get a running start. And to do that, we need to know who plays well with him and what we have to move. Because it could work out that Keldon Johnson, as good as he is, becomes a trade chip because him and Wembanyama don't have chemistry. It could be that Jeremy Sohan could have another good year, but he just doesn't fit, and they can use him as a trade chip. Devin Vassell could evolve, and that changes your plan at shooting guard. Trey Jones, you get another 2 years of to see. I think there's just a lot of pieces where you have to. And Zach Collins will be a free agent. If you're going to go, do we need another big, or can we get a serviceable big like for so many years where it was Jakob Poeltl and Rashan Ostojevic and guys like that, where you kind of got in the middle and you said we got our star power forward, and we just need somebody there who can rebound and play defense, and we don't necessarily need them to be a star. But you may say, all right, that's not working. We need to have somebody else, or we need women. Like there's a lot you have to look at this year. It's an incomplete. It was great. I'll give him, but I'm thrilled that they did not go all in on Fred VanVleet and James Harden, or make a trade for Dame Lillard.
That'd be the best.
Dude, when they got dragged, their name's getting dragged everywhere now. No one talks about the Spurs for 3 years, and now Britney Spears is a fan? Come on. We got to take a break. When we come back, we will get into some fantasy football, talk a little MLB, top shelf, bottom shelf, Black Sports Spotlight, and a whole lot more. Coming up on The Horn, 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260. Stream it live on the Horn app and at hornfm.com. Back on Insinserious here on the Horn. Just got talking about basketball and how much fun it is. And there's no bad things that happen in basketball, right? I do want to get into some NFL and some fantasy football talk.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do more and more fantasy football as we get closer to the season and we start to look at some players. It is kind of a dead time right now in the NFL. Not a lot of news coming out. There's still, we could talk about DeAndre Hopkins and Dalvin Cook for the third straight week.
Or we could talk about Tom Brady and Kim Kardashian.
Jeez, no. He's retired. He doesn't count anymore.
All right, my bad.
He doesn't count until he's an announcer, and then, hey, guys, man, you got to move them chains. They're down. You got to go for it. I can't. I just don't like his voice.
I don't think that's his voice, though.
It's a surfer guy voice, and it just blows my mind. Because it's always you expect to have this, like, great athlete voice.
Yeah.
Like the greatest of all time, you expect him to walk up to the mic and just have a powerful voice, and then he just doesn't. So it throws me off every time.
So you hate Peyton Manning's voice?
Peyton Manning, great voice.
Great
just
voice.
Leading. But let's talk some fantasy football. Anthony, do you have some tips for people for what they should be doing at this time? The type of thing you tell me every year and I don't do.
Yeah, you got to prep. So for me personally, I think a couple years ago I created a Twitter account strictly for fantasy football. So I've added all like the big names in
Do
fantasy
you have a
football.
Threads account for it now?
I don't know what that means.
Threads is the new Twitter. So it's the
Oh,
Facebook, it's an
man.
Instagram thing for. It's Mark Zuckerberg's trying to stop Elon Musk, so they've made their own
Dang
thing.
it.
So you got to get your own thing on Threads now.
All right, well, now you got to get a Twitter and a Threads.
You can follow me on Threads at It's Patrick Davis.
Oh, you have a Threads.
I do. It's tied to your Instagram.
Oh, okay.
It's tied to your Instagram. So I have that now, but I have not posted anything or really been on it. I just got my name and I walked away.
Right on. So, all right, Twitter and Threads. Follow the big names in fantasy football, big names in just like media with NFL, and then like the beat writers for the teams. They give you all the kind of the updates and spring training. But then also you want to pay attention to the coaching changes, the offensive line change. Those are really huge in the off seasons. Make a big change, like Kellen Moore going to the Chargers.
Yeah,
definitely going to be a big change for them. My favorite thing in the world is mock draft. Mock draft. Constantly do it. Try to get it. Do live mock drafts. Pay attention to the sites that you go to. Patrick and I found out real quick that like if you go to Sleeper,
Patrick found out real quick. Patrick found out when he drafted Bijan in the 7th round.
Yeah, Bijan in the 7th round.
It took me 7 rounds to figure out. Hey man, I don't think they've put rookies in this. Let me go say, they put rookies in.
Yeah, it was a problem. But Fantasy Pros is a great one. That's my next thing is. I know it's all for fun, but it's also, if you're going to have fun, invest. If you're going to take time into this, invest. Not a lot of money, but Fantasy Pros is one of those apps that I would highly recommend to invest in. And lastly, just get into podcasts. Get into ones that are, entertaining. Fantasy Footballers is one that, you can sit, laugh, but give you good stats. So you don't have to go out and try to do all this research that is boring as all heck.
I will tell you, this is something that I've tried a little bit more recently, is if you have time, pick a position and then listen to like 3 different podcasts on that same position, because you're going to get some takes that sound really good. And then you're going to go to another one and they're going to give you a completely different take and you'll be like, oh, and you can kind of judge in the middle. But if you only listen to one podcast,
that's very true.
You're going to draft the way they think you should. It's better to get more insight in. And you can keep listening to Insinserious, and Anthony and I will tell you ours, and you should listen to his and not mine, but I'll still say it every week. Because that's what I do. But yeah, that's all good advice. I don't do a ton of it. I do mock draft every once in a while. I'm still very much involved in basketball, and I think once summer league ends, then it'll really, that hankering, and that's when fantasy football starts up. But we have a couple more. We have another week or so of basketball before it really gets into.
It's called multitasking, sir.
It is. Well, I have baseball still.
Oh, good grief! All right.
I still have baseball, which we'll talk about. The Astros win series against the Rangers over the weekend, 3-1, a huge series win. It pushes them back within 3 games of the Rangers. They then win again last night, which pushes them within 2 games. I believe last I looked, though, the Rangers were up and the Astros were down.
Yeah, I think it's 5-4
as of tonight. The Astros are down 3-0 right now, and the Rangers are up 5-4 is what we're saying?
Or it might be, yeah.
Yes, they're up 5-4 in the bottom of the 7th.
Yep.
So this could go back to a 3-game, but very big for the Astros that they did not let it get further away. Right. And I think it puts a little bit of fear back into the Rangers, which may end up being a bad thing for the Astros, because as we get to the trade deadline, the Rangers are very pot committed. They are very much pot committed, so they may push all in and go try and make a big deal of, are they going to go after Stroman? Are they going to go after Max Scherzer? Are they going to try and get Shohei Ohtani to come to Texas? All of these may happen, and we see with the Angels, we've talked about it, of do the Angels keep Shohei and make a push? Well, Mike Trout just got hurt. Mike Trout just got surgery. He's out 4 to 8 weeks. They're already 3rd place in that division. If you say, all right, we've lost Mike Trout for longer, Anthony Rendon is still hurt.
Yep.
There may be, hey, man, this is it. This is the thing. Let's go get the biggest package we can get for Shohei Ohtani, because this is the biggest trade chip that has ever existed, because if you are 1 piece away, he is 2 pieces, because he is a great pitcher and a great hitter. So he is 2 pieces. You get a great pitcher and a great hitter. The best trade chip ever at the trade deadline may be available this offseason or this July. And if that means that the Rangers say, hey, look, we've spent a lot of money and we'll spend more. And we just had Bobby Bonilla Day where they deferred his money for for till 2035, I think. You know, you can say, look, man, maybe we can work a deal where we're going to pay you for 30 years to give you all the money you need to make to come to Texas and be a Ranger and let us beat those pesky Astros over and over again.
Wouldn't Houston do that?
Because Houston doesn't have that money.
Okay.
Houston does not spend like that. They're homegrown. They also do not have the talent in the farm league because they've made trades year after year, because they've been coming up, because they called a lot of that talent up. So they don't necessarily have the package that the Rangers do. The Rangers, however, have a really good farm system right now. So they have enough pieces to be able to get him to come and then try and throw more money at him in this offseason, try and show him how great Texas is and see if he wants to stay here. I don't think that happens.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty long shot, maybe a 5% chance if that for Texas getting Ohtani at the trade deadline, but something to watch out for. And as an Astros fan, do not want it.
Yeah.
As a baseball fan, it could be fun to watch how good that Rangers team could be. But again, as an Astros fan, I'll take another couple winning seasons over you guys, win another division or two, trying to get back to that World Series. So yeah, that is very much fun to watch. Altuve's back on the 10-day DL. Hopefully he will be back coming up after the All-Star break. Yordan Alvarez hopefully coming back after the All-Star break. Michael Brantley did get shut down again, but they said it wasn't as bad as the first time he got shut down. This is kind of more a standard thing in the ramp-up procedure. So maybe you even get Michael Brantley back. I could believe Michael Brantley never plays another game in the MLB, too.
Wow.
That is also a reality that may be coming. Lance McCullers is, of course, out, but you're going to start getting some guys back for the Astros. You're only 2 games back as of right now, possibly 3 at the end of the day. But I think that this is going to be a really fun second half to watch if you're an Astros or a Rangers fan, and fun to have that rivalry alive. It was a lot of fun watching those games, too, because a lot of Astros fans traveled, and you know the Rangers fans are going to travel to Houston. So it's going to be a lot of fun of hearing cheers whenever anything happens.
Yeah.
And just a loud, raucous environment. I enjoyed it very much. Let's go over to Black Sports Spotlight of the Week. What have you got for us this week, Anthony?
All right, it's a short one, but we got Robert Jose Watson, who was born April 10th, 1946. He was an American professional baseball player, coach, and general manager. As a member of the Houston Astros, he was a 2-time All-Star player. In 1993, he became the second African-American general manager in Major League Baseball history with the Astros. He then served as the Yankees GM from 1995 through 1998, during which time the team won the 1996 World Series. Watson became the first African-American general manager to operate a team which would win the World Series. He was inducted into the Astros Hall of Fame, so salute to Robert Watson.
All right. Salute to Robert Watson there in the Black Sports Spotlight. Let's get to Top Shelf, Bottom Shelf. Every week, Anthony gives me stories we do not have time to get to in the rest of the show, and I will tell you if they're grade A, Texas, the Houston Astros being the Texas Rangers, or that bottom shelf, someone's chasing you in a hallway, and it turns out it's Britney Spears.
Nice.
Remember, you can join the conversation. 512-337-3776. 512-337-3776 is the Specs text line if you have a story you want us to get to or have an opinion about any of these stories or anything we've talked about today. Thanks for everybody who's texted in so far. I agree that Indy and Dallas have done some interesting things this offseason, and I think they're both aiming in the right direction. I will agree with you there. What's our first story for you?
Vegas to host in-season NBA tournament.
I look, I'm going to tell you, this is I don't know if it's top shelf or bottom shelf, Anthony.
Is it like a potential?
Because first of all, as of right now, it's bottom shelf. I don't get why it matters. I don't get any of it. I don't know what the incentive is for me to root for it as a fan.
Yeah.
It seems like a made-up thing that they're doing, and I've realized, too, when it went to Vegas, you're like, oh, it's all just gambling. Because more futures bets you can put on who's going to win this tournament, and they're going to try and get it down there and just make a bunch of money for gambling, which, great, fun, but I don't get why fans, we should care as much. I just need to see what the actual, I need to see it.
Okay.
I need to see what it is.
This is like Buffalo Trace. For the longest time, it was the bottom shelf. It was just the throwaway. Then recently, it won all these awards. Now you can barely find it, and it's this beautiful thing. And I think that's what this is going to be. I think you're going to find
beautiful.
I think you're going to find the entertainment in it. It'll make it these lower teams that nobody cares about, that nobody watches, makes it a bit more prevalent.
And this is why, for me, I think I'll watch NBA every night of the week. I have League Pass. I'll watch it so for me...
But you're not going out of your way to watch Toronto now.
No, and I won't then either.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. I like watching, you'll be like, oh, this is a fun team to watch. And so there are some younger teams and stuff. Like you watched Oklahoma City last year because SGA was a lot of fun to watch. Right. There were some fun players on that. I mean, Toronto has never really been that team.
That's fair.
But what's our next story?
Ewers and Worthy lead Heisman betting.
This is a story that two of the highest money on players. Quinn Ewers, understandable. Texas puts a lot of money down on gambling, so that makes sense. He is a Heisman front runner this year. But it's apparently Xavier Worthy, the odds were very low on him, so you can make a lot of money betting on him. And he was a guy that, according to Sark, had a broken hand for half of a season, and he still threw him the ball like 30 times a game. So I get if you're just wanting to put money down, you're like, dude, no one's ever thrown a ball to a guy that many times who can't catch a ball because his hand's broken. And Sark got a wide receiver a Heisman a couple years ago in Devontae Smith. It's an interesting thing. I'm going to put it on bottom shelf for now, though, because we got to keep our expectations low.
Yes.
We got to aim into it. I think Ewers going in there is a very good thing. Worthy, let's spread the ball around. Let's get it going. And let's not worry. I'm not as worried about the Heisman. I'd love to see Ewers get it, be the number 1 overall pick next year, but after he wins that national championship.
Okay, sure. UFC 290 this weekend.
Is this a big fight for you, Anthony?
Oh,
is
this
this
is
a good
huge.
one?
This is
All right,
huge.
Give me
So
a
it's
preview
basically this is the this whole Mexican revolution that's just like going all through the UFC. And so if Yadir Rodriguez pulls off this upset against Volkanovski, it would be it. I love it. And you got Brandon Moreno in the next match, and you have even in the prelims, you have Robbie Lawler in the fight. And so this is a stacked card. I think it's going to be the top 2 fights. Title fights are going to be fantastic, worth the money.
Okay.
It's been a while since we've had a good UFC.
All right. So UFC there. Let's do one. Let's do 2 more.
All right. The MLB Home Run Derby next week.
All right. Seems to be. I enjoy the MLB Home Run Derby. Are you a fan?
One of my favorite things.
Okay.
I watched the whole
thing. Is there
thing.
anything you do to be better about it, or
that they need to do?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, it's really hard. How would you? I like it. I love it.
I think they've done a lot of things to improve it. I'm a big fan. Top shelf MLB home run. Let's see, Adolis Garcia, I believe, will be in it for the Texas Rangers. Give them every award. I want them to be fat and happy going into the second season.
Exactly.
MVPs, give them everything. Let them win it now and let the Astros come up. So top shelf, let Adolis Garcia get it. Let him get fat and happy right now.
Right. Packers president hints at team picked for Hard Knocks.
So the Packers president in a thing basically says it's going to be a lot of fun to watch some of our ex-teammates in the Jets in the Hard Knocks. It has not been announced who's going. The Jets are apparently super mad about this because they don't want anybody in their training facility and the culture they're building. Tough titties, buddy. You shouldn't have been bad for so many years. It's hilarious. It has to be the Jets, right?
It has to be the Jets. Yeah.
It's a team everybody wants to watch. And this is my favorite part is what's going to happen is Aaron Rodgers accidentally, quote unquote, accidentally walking in and out of frame of shots and be like, you guys are following me around. They're like, sir, this is the boiler room. What are you doing there? No, you guys just can't let me get a second apiece. I'm waiting for that Aaron Rodgers to come out. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll do some Insinserious news right here on the Horn, 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260. Stream it live and on the Horn app or at hornfm.com. Back on the Insinserious here on the Horn. You know what? Before we even get to Insinserious news, because I feel like it is Insinserious news.
Okay.
What's your take on Britney Spears, Victor Wembanyama, Gates, 2023?
I just love it. I love the drama. It's so stupid. I just love the mess that it's. This guy. It's gonna be like this all the time. But, you know.
There's been a reported tug. There's cameras, right? It's Vegas. There's cameras everywhere in Vegas, right?
But apparently you can't. There hasn't been a clean shot of the slap.
Oh, there has to be. And there's no way. There's no way the head of Spurs security went to training and they were like, and if a woman comes up and touches one of the players in the back, slap him. There's no way that he intentionally slapped somebody in the face.
We'll see.
I think incidental slapping, definitely. That is definitely believable. But yeah, intentional slapping sounds crazy. To just be like, get out of here, swatting people away.
I love it.
Yeah, I still, it boggles my mind that she was like, yeah. So I saw him earlier, and then I saw him again, and he was being escorted through a crowded area, and clearly they were trying to push him through. And I thought, this is the time. You know better. You just said, and then she had a British accent, and she yelled, "This is effing America," in a British accent, which is crazy in itself. Because you're like, yeah, this is America. What is it? What American thing are they? You're just allowed to grab celebrities? Am I like,
hey, they wanted to free Britney. This is what they get.
This is what you get. I'm hoping it all works out. But I'm telling you,
You're
I know
hoping it all works out.
I'm hoping that it doesn't get petty at a point. But I do think Mark Cuban should call up Britney Spears and be like, hey, look, the Spurs haven't apologized to you yet. Probably because the cops have been involved, and you're going to sue them, and you're waiting for them to say that they slapped you, and then you're going to use that in court to sue them for millions of dollars. No. But by the way, that's the reason the Spurs do not respond.
Yeah.
Because the cops have been involved, and they're like, they're going to sue us. So we have to see footage, or we have to figure out our side. And by the way, if the guy did just straight up slap a woman, no matter who it was, then yeah, that's a problem. They have to do an internal investigation.
I like how you twisted. You're like, oh wait, I should
No, I'm just
preface
saying.
this real quick.
No, I'm just for the record. Yeah, if they did that, but I'm saying the Spurs, that's part of their legal thing too. Is they have to be like, if you're doing that, it's probably not the first woman you slapped.
Yeah.
We should cut the brakes on this. So but it's a crazy story. It tells you how much Victor Wembanyama is sweeping the nation. And
That's because Britney touched him.
no, because he's in the news constantly now.
Yeah.
Selling out in Vegas. Selling out in Vegas. Let's get to our first story for Insinserious News. Anthony, are you ready?
I'm ready.
A stalled ride strands passengers upside down for more than 4 hours. It's a roller coaster. They're riding it, and it just kind of tops out and then hanging.
Mm-mm.
And then they have to fix it, but you can't really unload the passengers. So normally if a ride sticks, you go down, you try and unload them and walk them off, and you get them off safely, right? With this, you can't. So you have to get the whole thing safely.
No.
But 4 hours is a long time.
That's a long time.
That's a really long time. That's a long movie.
That's long 2 movies.
And for it to be upside down for that.
That doesn't make sense to me.
And then you're like, well, I'd pee, but I'm also trajectory. This doesn't end well for any of us.
That is terrible.
So you have to do it. Is there an activity or like a ride or something that you can imagine that you're like, if I have to be stuck somewhere, what fun activity where you're like, this would be so much fun and over in 2 minutes, stuck there? What would you be?
I mean, like it would have to be a what's like Austin Parker pizza place where it's got all the video games. If I was stuck in there,
yeah,
but
like a lock in where you're just like, I fell asleep in the toilet.
Yeah.
Guess I'm gonna play video games all night.
I could do that. That's fine.
Do that. A radio personality in Australia has set a new Guinness World Record. He hosted a show for 55 hours and 26 minutes. That means no commercials, no songs.
Just talking.
He could interview people.
Wow.
So he could interview people. They apparently had doctors on hand to make sure that he didn't kill himself doing this, because that's 2023. If you die doing it, that's a valiant way to go down, was talking to death. What was the cause of death? A lot of hot wind.
Stupid.
Could you do anything? It's like, look, I love talking. I do it 5 hours on a Thursday, and I'm done.
Yeah.
55 hours seems like a lot.
No.
What could you do for 55 hours?
Honestly, just sleep at this point. I'm so tired. I'm always tired. 55. That's the
That's the
dream.
problem is I can't even sleep for 55 hours anymore.
I mean, I know I
because
couldn't.
about hour 10, I'm like, well, now my back and neck really hurt,
Yep.
and we're gonna deal with that because I slept too much now.
Yeah.
So now I'm in pain and I can't even sleep more because I'm hurting.
You're in too much pain.
Pennsylvania lawmakers are considering replacing the state's official song. They apparently replaced it in 1990, but they're like, that song's passe now. Let's put a new one in there. We got to find a new Pennsylvania state song. And so I was like, well, what's the Texas state song? Do you know the Texas state song?
The Stars and Stripes.
It is nuts.
Oh, then
it
heck
is
no.
nuts. The Texas state song is Texas Our Texas. It was adopted in 1929. So 94
I'm
years.
sure there's some problematic verses in there.
Probably is. That's most things from 1929, isn't there? And then there's this verse we don't sing anymore. But if so 1920, they adopted a new one. They're doing another one from 1990.
Yeah.
So we can update Texas then.
It would be for me. It'd be Fat Pat's Top Strap. That would be the best.
Is Fat Pat even from Texas?
Houston.
Is he a Houston rapper?
I'm gonna go with that. He might be from Memphis, actually.
I don't think Fat Pat's one of them. But yeah, I think we can go Houston. I think it would just be hilarious if someone was like, "What's Texas state song?" It's probably this old, it's like problematic, and you're like, "No, it's not actually.
It's dope as good.
No, it's actually the Ghetto Boys."
Yeah, okay, I can do that.
And finally, the FAA has cleared a California car company. They are building a flying car. They have got approval to give some testing to a flying car. It's about time for flying cars. What futuristic invention that like we thought we were gonna have? We were kids. We saw it on the Jetsons, and we're like, "What's gonna happen?" What do you got?
That's not at all what I was. Reparations. Yeah, that'd be a nice futuristic
thing.
Guys,
that is so future. I've heard that California's working on it.
I've heard it. It'd be real nice.
I've heard it as well, but I do not know what that is considered anymore. But yeah, I'm trying to think. If we got like the skate thing from the skateboard from Back to the Future,
exactly what I thought. The hoverboard.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that anymore though.
But now you locked in, so you're good.
Yeah, but then I'm gonna be dragged upside down.
I see that already.
Yeah, just how did he die? Well, it's just spinning in a circle, and they're like, we can't even shut it off. He's gotta wait till the battery dies. It's solar powered. Oh no. I don't know what it would be. There's a lot of problems with pretty much every invention that you wanted as a kid. You're like, well, now I see why that doesn't exist. But I'm going to go with teleportation. That is the one thing that if you were like, I'd like to visit that place, but I don't want to travel there.
Yeah, see, but now that I think, like, as a parent, if everybody can teleport, when you're trying just to get away from your family, and they can teleport to like in the bathroom, you get your little break, and your kids are just teleporting in there. No, that's a problem.
Oh no, I don't need that kind of teleportation that everyone's just like night crawlering around. Yeah. I mean, like you go to a place, like you drive down to your local bus stop, and then you hop in the teleporter, and you're in France.
All right.
So somewhere where you still have to go somewhere, yeah, and then you have to go to where another teleporter is. You can't just willy-nilly pop in on people, because then people will be like, oops, I messed up. I'm in the girls' locker room again. And they're like, Fred, you're 75. Go to jail. We got to get out of here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back next week with more great Insinserious content. Until then, keep your underwear clean, and we'll see you then. Peace.